All right, guys, what's going on? It's Jack, and welcome back to another video. So in this one, we're going to be talking about a subject that a few other people have been talking about. Now, I was debating on which one I wanted to talk about first in this specific video. So let's get right into it. Skill-based matchmaking. Does skill-based matchmaking exist in XDefiant, and more importantly, right now in this current beta? And the answer to the question ultimately is both yes and no, but the interesting part about this is which part of the yes and no exactly? What specifics am I talking about? Now, there's been some Call of Duty content creators out there, or just content creators out there in general, that say that they feel that skill-based matchmaking is in this game. And I will say that right off the bat right now, I think that it possibly could exist because I've got two pieces of evidence that says it does exist. Evidence number one is ranked play. Obviously, in ranked play, it's going to exist, and it's meant to be there, and it belongs there. Okay, cool. We already knew that. It's evidence number one. But, or should I say in two ways that it exists. Number two is that I don't know if I'm the only one that's going through this. At least I don't think so. But the lobbies are disbanding after every match. Now, to be fair, I don't think I don't know if that's like part of the whole beta matchmaking system. I don't know if it's a glitch, something that's not necessarily supposed to happen. I don't know if they're doing it like that so that way they can gather more data in terms of how everything is working matchmaking wise, so that way they can adjust their algorithm or whatever. I don't know, because the thing is, ultimately, I want to give Mark Rubin and all these other guys the benefit of the doubt. They've already said, Mark has already stated numerous times that he does not, skill-based matchmaking does not belong in pubs, and that they don't have it in pubs in this game or in casual play. So therefore, I believe him. I believe him that it's not in there. And I'm going to go in depth as to why. And I'm also going to be talking about a couple of the things that some of the other content creators may have mentioned, like Murda Show has been talking about. And you know what? I actually, here's the funny thing about this commentary. I don't disagree, because he is also another person that knows these kind of games very well. I've been going at this in terms of content creation for 8 years now. Over the last 8 years, like I would say that I was strictly dedicated to Call of Duty from Black Ops 2 beyond. Like I was dedicated to Black Ops 2 for about to Call of Duty in general for about 2 to 3 years before I even started making content on it with this channel that you see here today. And over the last year or so, I've been kind of branching off and playing different games. And the last first-person shooter that I played was Halo Infinite, and I played nothing but ranked on that, which is something that I usually don't do, but I actually enjoyed ranked in that game more than I enjoyed regular pubs or whatever you want to call them, right? Or social. So for me, that was my flavor. And who knows, with this game, I might enjoy ranked even more, simply because of the maps. Because recently I've been playing a few of the maps, a few different maps, because I've been playing a few of the different game modes. You might spot it in this gameplay here or in the next one in terms of the next video I'm going to talk about. So, and this is footage that was recorded from the stream that I had the other night or whatnot. So, but anyway, going back to the topic here, I can understand why people would believe that skill-based matchmaking is indeed in this game. Obviously, one of the things that I've mentioned is that lobbies are disbanding. So that could be a thing. But again, to counter that, Mark Rubin said no. And the thing is, I don't think that they're going to continue doing the whole disbanding of the lobbies. Or it could be a glitch. Or it just could be something that they're just doing for the beta to test their matchmaking and optimization for that. I'm open to all possibilities in terms of that aspect. And then because not just for for obvious reasons, but also for the fact that it's a social thing to stay banded in lobbies until somebody just wants to back out or whatnot. It could be just a glitch to where it just shows searching for player, when in fact it's just, you know, really just not searching for anybody. It just says that it is, but people are still there, and then they just pop up again. That could be a thing. I'm also looking at the scores, and I'm seeing all sorts of different things. I'm seeing really good players, I'm seeing terrible players, and I'm seeing everything in between. So to me, that kind of says balance. And let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, let's not forget that this is a closed beta. Okay, and I know you know this, and I know some of you guys might say, well, Jack, what's your point? Here's my point. My point is that most of your casuals, the vast majority of your casuals, are not going to put in the effort to get into this closed beta. And on top of that, they're not going to do all the things that they need to do to get into this closed beta. Because casuals, like the casual players, they just want to get on and play. Simple as that. And it's only like the majority of people that are like hardcore people that are going to be getting in there and playing this. I would say close to 50%, if not more, of people that are playing this game right now, which is like what they've reached over 1 million people playing this game, which is great, by the way. I'm glad to see the success, and I hope those numbers continue to increase as time goes on, especially when it comes to release and everything like that, with the support of the community and the support of the devs, which is something I mentioned in the last video. But the thing is, a lot of people that are really good are playing this game, and let's not forget this. This is a fact, whether you want to realize it or not. 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, things were not exactly where they were now. There weren't as many content creators as there are now. There weren't as many skilled players as there are now. Like right now, things have changed so much. Even if you ask some of the pros in terms of, like, I remember somebody was asking Crim6 as of recently, how do you become a pro? What are the steps to become a pro? And he said, I honestly couldn't answer that, because the way I got in is different than the way you get in now. It's so much different now, and it might even be harder now. So, and I'm paraphrasing of his answer, but that was around the lines of what his answer is. Like, he didn't have an answer, because things were different when he got in to become a pro, when he made his transition, compared to what it is now, right? Because lots has changed even since the pro scene. So the thing is, right now, let's not beat around the bush. Competition is much higher now, and we're not just talking about the pro scene or the people that want to become pros, but we're just talking about everything in general. There's a lot of really good players out there. There's a much higher percentage of really good players out there than there were in the past. And not just that, I also think that in terms of how the games are programmed, like for instance, Call of Duty has always had, like, even in the days before there was before we called skill-based matchmaking or whatnot, like, it wasn't as strict as it is today. And the reason why it's gotten strict is, well, obviously we know the reason why they want to protect their casual players or whatnot, but it's also because people in general have just been getting better. That's my theory on that. I could be wrong about that part, but that's just something I wanted to lay out loud in this video. I wanted to kind of put it out there because I'm all about, this is one of the reasons why I make videos in the first place. I want to share it with you, and I want feedback as well, because there are people out there that have their own opinions and their own points of view, and it's always interesting in terms of not just getting their points of view, but there's going to be something that somebody's going to mention in the comments section sooner or later that I didn't even think about or forgot to mention or didn't mention, because again, I don't script these things. Every once in a while I'll write down a few notes, and then that'll be that. But let's not forget about the fact that things are different now. Now, I know the last time I played Call of Duty, which was like, let's say it was World War II, and it was like 6 months, give or take 6 months ago, right? I played for a few sessions, did what I always did, won the vast majority of my games, played very well, in terms of my score and everything like that. Okay, cool. But with that being said, that's an old game, and the majority of players, they move on to the new game. So the majority of good players, they move on to the new game. So that's the thing. This is also a new game, and a lot of players from even different, that are good players in different fields and in different games, will come on and play this, despite the fact that they normally play, let's say Valorant, which is a PC game, which, again, the PC community that's another thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that this game is very very catered towards, obviously it's trying to cater to both, but this game also very much caters to PC players. It really does, and I'm actually glad to see that. And I'm going to get more into that, because the other video that I want to talk about, which I'll make separate from this one in terms of when I start recording, is going to be about the aim assist. But in this one, with skill-based matchmaking, like when you take into account a game that's also really, really good for PC players, and that's not necessarily console dominant, it's trying not to be dominant in any way, but ultimately one is going to be more dominant than the other. But so far, this is a PC dominant type of game. Now, am I saying that console players can't do amazing things? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that at all. I think console players can still do a remarkably good job, despite the fact with the aim assist problems and inconsistencies, and of the fact that a lot of people don't like that it's been lowered. Again, I'm going to talk about in depth in the next video. But the thing is, ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm taking the devs' word for it. I've seen everything in terms of what the score has said. I've seen everything in gameplay. I've seen people that were easy to shoot and take out, and let's not forget, and hard people as well. I've seen people crack shooting all over the place. I see less people having cracked movement whenever I turn crossplay off, which is good and all. but you guys get the point. The thing is, there's a little bit of everything here. There's a higher concentration of good players because this is a closed beta, and the people that are going to sign up for the if this was an open beta, I think the experience would be a little bit different. I think it wouldn't be felt as prominent as it is now. You wouldn't be feeling, you know, all those players it is now, you know. So putting all these things together, guys, remember the times have changed. Players have overall gotten better. There's been more players that have been getting better. More people are watching YouTube now than ever. I mean, I didn't even start watching YouTube in terms of video games until around the 2012 area, because it just never crossed my mind to look at YouTube for gameplays and tips and stuff like that. I didn't even know there was a community for this thing up until 2012. So, but it was existing even before that, but I didn't know this at the time. So you guys get the point here. Now everybody knows. Everybody knows, if not the majority of people know. Even the casuals of your casuals, they know, but they just don't watch much of it. They just play for maybe an hour or two a day at the most after work or whatnot, and then that's it. They'll maybe play a little bit more on the weekend, but that's it. They won't necessarily go into a stream and look at a person's stream and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So you guys have to understand that a lot of the players that are here have gotten their codes from a streamer that they watched, and then they gave it to their friends and stuff like that. I mean, there's still a good percentage of players here that are good players. Now, again, you're gonna have a few games to where the scores say otherwise. There's no doubt about it. But at the same time, if you are a good player, let's say you were a good player in Call of Duty, right? Before, let's say, Modern Warfare 2019. Let's say you were a good player or an above average player, right? And then all of a sudden you've got, you know, all this going on to where you see all different things. There are other people in that lobby like you that are struggling. I will say this, in terms of this game so far and everything like that, and in terms of the fact that I'm kind of just getting back into playing again these games after being out for so long, let me tell you something. I don't care. You can tell from these gameplays, right? I don't care about good gameplay anymore. I don't care about, you know, only posting good gameplay on. And if I did, there would be hardly any videos here that I would have for you guys. I'd rather make the content. Who cares about gameplay anyway? One of the things I learned is, unless you're a stomping channel or something like that, who really cares about gameplay? It's about the content creator and the quality of the content and their personality and their flavor of content and entertainment that they bring to you more than anything else. You know what I mean? Good gameplay is good. You know, I used to post nothing but good gameplays, right? But I don't really need to do that anymore. And the thing is this, to be honest, I don't think I've gotten any good gameplays. And if I did, there's somewhere in the middle of this recording here that I'm using from the stream that I recorded. So, they're not really that impressive. I have yet to drop a 40 bomb in this game. And for me, that in Call of Duty, I used to drop 40 bombs all the time. I used to average 40 bombs, you know? So, but the thing is, look, I've come to understand that there are other good players out there. I'm not the only one, and these players are also, a lot of them are also young. They're in the prime of their life, and they're very interested in playing this game and making content on it and stuff like that. We have to accept the fact that there's a higher concentration of good players. Now, with that being said, whenever you look at some of these other content creators that are saying, yes, skill-based matchmaking is this thing, is in here, I can see it. Well, the thing is, yes, I agree, because when you look at the movement and you see how these other people are playing, you could tell that that's a good player and they truly know what the hell they're doing, whether they're on mouse and keyboard or whether they're on controller, right? Doesn't matter. You can tell by the way somebody's doing something that, yes, they have a certain level of understanding of what's going on. Some are better than others, but ultimately they have a level of understanding what's going on, right? And we're seeing a high concentration of that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's guaranteed that there's skill-based matchmaking in here. Remember, this is a closed beta. Having a closed beta is a whole other story than especially with how you have to get in this game, than an open beta that's just online and you just get in there and play. I would say that it would make a significant difference. I would say right now, and I'm saying this now, I could be, I hope I'm right, but I could be wrong. I understand that. So when they release the next beta, which hopefully will be an open beta, right? When that happens, I think the gameplay experience is going to be much better. Let's not forget about the fact that we're playing on these old, inconsistent ass servers with desync and hit detection issues, right? So, and dying around walls, right? Because we're playing on old servers, right? And like the old settings on the old servers that they were playing during the insider sessions or whatever you want to call them, right? So, and they're already working on the other servers and they've already been optimized and they're ready to go, but they're continuing to be optimized so that way when they do stress test them or when they do put them out there, it's like, hey, we're ready to go. So ultimately, that has to be something to be taken into effect as well, which I think has a little bit to do with the aim assist problem. I could be wrong. I'm not a dev, but that could be a thing because This is the reason why, because every single person that I've seen talk about this on Twitter, or whether it's in the comment section, or whether it's a stream that I've seen or whatever, I'm seeing a bunch of different things. So therefore, everybody's experiencing something different. Like, they're experiencing different things and at different times and in different ways. So like sometimes the aim assist will work a little bit, sometimes it won't, and yada yada yada. Or, you know, sometimes the hit detection is spot on and you melt somebody, and then sometimes it's like boom, they melt you, you know. Which is another reason why snipers seem ultra broken in this game, is because of the desync. So the sniper will see you way before you see them, and then by the time you see them, you're dead, like before you can blink, right? And that's because it's just the server issue. So, but with that being said, I believe that all these things, when you put them together, they do play a role, and all these things add up into what this game is. And I am happy to see that this game is getting the amount of support that it's getting, the amount of communication that it's getting. And I think, you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, I think that's another thing, that's another reason why we also got a closed beta as well, besides the fact that they just wanted to make it closed, because I guess that's routine nowadays before they go into a full-on beta. And that is that I think in terms of feedback and stuff like that, like the majority of people that are playing, or a higher percentage of people that are playing the closed beta, are good players, and they know first-person shooters, right? They know it to a certain level that casuals will not, because if casuals give their feedback, I mean, we already know about what casuals will say in the first place, right? But the thing is, like, if casuals get their feedback, they don't have that level of depth and experience and that sort of view of things that somebody that's been playing first-person shooters religiously for, like, let's say 10 years, right? Whether they're playing pubs or whether they're playing competitive or whatever it is, at the end of the day, when you have experience in something for 10 years versus somebody who let's say only gets on and plays an hour or two at the very most, and 2 is pushing it, you know, let's say they play for an hour or so, you know, just casually, and they don't think about it ever again, they just go on with their life or whatnot. Again, completely different when you compare it to somebody who takes it a little bit more seriously. And again, going back to what I was saying earlier, there's a higher percentage of people that take gaming seriously now because it's profitable, because there's more streaming going on, the effect of the social media and everything else. It is not the same as it was 10 years ago, let alone 5. This is something that continues to evolve and continue to grow. So my point of view of this is that everybody's right. There's nobody wrong, but we can't ignore the fact that 1, this is a closed beta, and 2, people have gotten better. Are there still shitty players out there? Yes, there's always going to be shitty players out there. But there's also going to be people out there that are going to get better, and a higher percentage of them, because, again, more people know about the YouTube scene now than ever. Everybody's trying to get into the YouTube scene. Everybody's looking up videos on how to become better or what classes they should put on. There's a higher percentage of these people, and it's more and more apparent every single time, every single day. Look at some of these big influencers and streamers, how many people they have in their stream. All those numbers add up. And again, at the same time, because this game is kind of like a hybrid game, you know, a little bit of Call of Duty, a little bit of Overwatch in terms of the heroes and specialists or whatever it is, a little bit of its own identity, what it's trying to do. So you put all these things together, it's going to attract different players, right? And a lot of these players may be very good at what they do in other games, but that doesn't mean that it can't translate over. You know, if you're a PC player, for instance, or even a console player, and if you're good at aiming at one game, guess what? You're going to know how to be good at aiming on another game, you know, unless that game plays so different now. But a lot of games are playing like this game now. There's a lot of similarities in terms of how this game plays, and on top of that, it's not really hard to adapt either. It really isn't, especially if you're interested in it, if you're passionate about it. It won't take long to adapt, really. So, but with that being said, those are all my overall thoughts in terms of whether or not there's skill-based matchmaking in this game. So all I have to say is I don't believe there is, in terms of, except for, you know, there's something that kind of has me looking at it and saying, why are lobbies disbanding, right? Or again, it could be a glitch, it could be just something that's different, but and at the same time, I'm willing to give Mark Rubin the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, I'm not going to ignore something that, like, let's say somebody like Murda Show, who's been doing this for a long time. You know, I've been doing this for 8 years. I've been playing first-person shooters religiously for 10 before recent. So I can't ignore what that man has to say either, because that's what he's experiencing and that's what he's seeing. But that doesn't mean that we can't be wrong, right? It doesn't mean that he's right or that he's wrong. It doesn't, we have yet to see that. We have yet to uncover it. So, and until we do, we can say what we feel and what we think, and that's what we think, and this is what I think. So ultimately, so far, nobody seems to be wrong, and this is why people are thinking this, or maybe that's not the case, and why people might be thinking that, and it may or may not be the case. So, as you see there towards the end of the video, the end of this video here, the game just, I guess, crashed on me, and that was the only time that happened in this beta. So, but anyway, let me know down in the comment section, guys, what do you think? What side are you on? Do you believe there's skill-based matchmaking in this game, despite the fact that it's a beta? Obviously, well, it's in betas regardless, and they need to test that out as well, right? Or do you believe there's not? I mean, who knows? And if there is, they might be using that to test their rank mode out. I don't know, but that's just my speculation. That's everything that I wanted to talk about from every single side that I can think of in terms of this uncut commentary. And I want you to tell me what you think, what side you're on. What are you feeling in the game? What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? What do you think? And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this this video, and would love to hear some feedback. And the next one is going to be about aim assist, which I am going to be starting recording as soon as I'm done with this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.